I'm now joined by Dave Murrow, who is the Business Development Lead at Lockheed Martin. Thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
So why don't you talk us through what role Lockheed Martin is playing in space exploration right now?
Okay, well, so Lockheed Martin starts at the edge of the universe. We have been exploring space for many years, and so one of the things we're most proud of is the NIRCam camera on James Webb Space Telescope, looking out to 13.6 billion years ago. Now we reel that in, and we're also playing a really nice role in planetary exploration. So the universe and galaxies, and in our solar system, we're currently flying 8 missions. So we're flying a mission at Jupiter right now called Juno. We're flying an entire series of communication satellites at Mars, and we're busy developing a spacecraft to go to Titan, a moon of Saturn, and a couple of spacecraft, 2 of them, to go to Venus, to map the surface of Venus. And then, even closer to home, we're working on the moon. Everybody loves the moon. So we've got a small robotic spacecraft that's going to launch next year that will map where all the water is. Water is the key to life. Water is the key to much of our exploration on the moon. So we'll map where the water is. And then, of course, astronauts. Lockheed builds the only deep space rated crew transportation system, Orion. And so Orion will ferry astronauts to and from the moon for the next, we think, maybe 10, 20 years. So Lockheed Martin has a huge role in that. And once we get to the moon, we're going to build a rover to drive folks around. We're going to build a communication satellite called Parsec to send all the data back. So the universe is ours. We start at the edge and we move in all the way to the moon.
That sounds absolutely incredible. So what are some of the main focuses right now?
Well, like I said, lunar mobility is a really big deal for us. So we've teamed up with General Motors to invest in building a lunar mobility system that will drive around with astronauts for a couple of weeks a year when the astronauts are there, but also has autonomy. So when the astronauts come home, that rover could drive around and do scientific missions for the rest of the year. It's a wonderful project, and the fact that Lockheed Martin is investing in and building the hardware is really going to help NASA and ESA move into a services-based economy. We want to stay at the moon this time, and the way we stay at the moon is if there's people making money and sustaining a lunar program. So lunar mobility, lunar communications, big deal for us at the moon.
And what are you most excited about for the future of space exploration, and what sort of role do you see Lockheed playing in that?
Well, I think the most exciting thing for me now is that we're really moving into an era where there's many, many more players in space. We went to the moon in 1969. We went to the moon back then, but we came home because it was all based on just government go and government come back. Once we have the private sector involved, once we have more people involved, we're going to stay. So part of that is enabled by the new generation. We have so many young people ready to move into space. And let me just tell you, the young people are so talented, smarter than my generation, standing on our shoulders with new tools and new capabilities and a new economy to be able to really stay at the moon this time. And then, of course, once we're at the moon with people, we can start thinking about the moon and Mars. We can take what we've done with robotic exploration at Mars and the rest of the solar system, and we can take humans there. So we have concepts to take humans to Mars by the end of the 2030s. That would really be awesome for us to be a multi-planet species, moon and Mars with human exploration.
Oh, it certainly would. Dave Murrow, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.